Hello, and welcome to another chapter of a tome pulled right off the shelves at the heart of the Jakuls. As always, I am your dependable host, Lothrin, and there is ever so much more data to relay, so let's get to it, shall we? Go grab a filling meal, settle into a cozy spot, and pay accurate attention to Fleet Part 23. The Arduous Path. The Zir led Cam through the grim, silent forest. Not a rustle of a leaf, not a call of a bird, not a single sound other than Cam's echoing heartbeat and thunderous plodding steps crashing through the undergrowth. He felt more out of place and clumsy by the passing second. The Zir continued at the same pace, walking perpetually around this tree and over that stone, never making a sound, never uttering a word or breath, obsessed, seemingly, with the act and concept of utmost silence and unknown passage. It took Cam ages to figure out that he was being led around in circles, several hours of it. His only clue was Nono looking back at him with an ever more worried expression. But what was he supposed to do? Was this some sort of test? If it was, how did the Zir expect Cam to pass it? Cam chose to come to a halt along the path, feeling whispers on his mind the moment his feet stopped moving. He controlled his breaths to steady his heart, keeping an eye on how far away the Zir had gone. He tilted his head to one side, mimicking as much of the odd twist motion he'd seen of the Zir earlier in the morning. The Zir man was walking, gliding silently with each motion, but he was getting no further from Cam, no matter how many steps the other man took. Cam felt the barest margin of a soft, pleasant whisper. He lunged for it, grabbing the odd-looking woman by her neck. She appeared naked from head to toe, beautiful and somehow jackal in shape, form, and function, but red of skin, with plates and scales, like the old Jakuls. Not ugly, though, softened in the same way as new Jakul races, like himself and those within the Daramore Empire. She smiled against the forceful grip, squeezing the life from her lungs, reaching up to caress Cam's arm and cheek almost lovingly. Cam rescinded his arm, noticing the clapping throng of Zirs all around him. Well and proper met. The first Zir turned and spoke to Cam, picking Nono up and handing him off. The vicious-eyed man gestured with one hand, revealing the same small stretch of stream Cam had sheltered near, then wiping it away to show off part of their lost path through the woods, and with another swipe of his hands, showed Cam a packed village going through an intense restoration, nearly all of its dome buildings decimated by some unseen monstrous hand. Cam looked to the Zir. Azlath did all this? The Zir nodded, motioning for Cam to follow him once again. And this time, luckily, the walk was brief, ending at a small personal dome, where Cam, the Zir man, and the strange woman entered, and then Cam was stared at by the other two. "What do you want?" Cam asked, very unsure if he would like the answer. The Zir looked to the woman. She nodded and closed the distance between herself and Cam, attempting to embrace him. "What is this?" "I thought you would have been more aware by now," the Zir man replied. "You don't have to do this," Cam informed the woman, but she only seemed distraught by his reaction and rejection of her affections. She slumped to the floor, tears streaking down her face, keeping her eyes down, and her three-fingered hands over the shame on her features. No, don't be sad, don't cry. Listen, what's your name? Who are you? Who are you?" Cam's insistence only made the woman more and more upset. "We are not that way." The Zir male spoke for himself and the woman on the floor. "She doesn't need to do this," Cam said. Okay, we will kill her then, the Zir replied. The woman stood up, resigning herself to an early death, looking much happier all of a sudden. No, don't kill her. What the hell is wrong with you? We are Zir. I assure you, there is nothing wrong with us, the Zir replied. Why would you just kill someone because I didn't want them? Cam tried to come up with more, but couldn't find the right explanation. Wasn't even sure if there were words for it. The Zir held out a hand to hold Cam's words at bay. We are a silent people. He was quiet for a time, far too long for Cam's comfort. You have chosen to walk the arduous path, but when we speak much of what we think, we are lost in the echoes. I was already on the path, Cam insisted. My choice not to walk it is how I came to be in this town. Cam replied, but the woman looked at him, shaking her head ever so slightly in his direction. The arduous path means more than that. She nodded while looking at him. It's the path to trust. The silence, you see, is our most effective method of teaching. The Zir male responded, nudging at the woman's side. She crossed the distance back to Cam. Her touch was warm, her skin soft, her every breath light and happy. She nuzzled against him as if her only desire in the whole world was to please him with the fuel of her life. There is no going back to the way she was, is there? Cam asked of the Zir. No. Have you killed the child yet? Cam asked after Nono's fate. The Zir smiled, revealing once more those rows of dagger-sharp needles. Not yet, but converting him will have much more of a cost. Can you have me pay it instead? The Zir's smile only broadened. Why would you pay such a price? I need him. To test this woman, Cam elaborated, to see if she's up for the task of being mine. Cam both lied and told the truth, not even sure which was which as he spoke the words aloud. From a Zir's mind to a Zir's mind, the Zir man replied, looking more and more pleased by the moment. I will leave to see to your wishes. I will return only after you have embraced each other, and only then. He left abruptly, offering no space for Cam to argue another path. She kissed him in an instant, her lips powerful, her grip on the back of his head fierce. He wanted to resist, her nails scraping till they drew dark blood. Awash in pleasure, Cam struggled to pull himself free of her. He pushed her angrily onto the bed, and it only pleased her all the more. She smiled in response, gesturing for Cam to follow. Was she doing as she enjoyed? Was this amount of coercion her normal desire? Were the Zir controlling him in some way? Were they making him more like them? And they peered into his mind and saw his truest, darkest, and most lustful desires and urgings. Cam pried the woman's legs apart, pleased that she gasped in such a delightful and passionate manner in response to his clawing grip. It didn't really matter, he thought to himself. All of this was so very natural and right. Cam endeavored to enjoy himself as much as he'd ever dared possible. And so it is, our time together has once more come to a close. I hope each and every one of you enjoyed the tale as much as I have the telling of it. As always, I've been your experienced host, Lothran, and this was Fleet Part 23, The Arduous Path, another tale right from the heart of the Jakuls. And now, we must once again part ways. Gorvoth, guide them back along the proper path, back to the safety they know all too well.
Yes, sir, Lothran. Lothran wouldn't let me listen to all of this one. Not sure why, but it seems the Zir are planning to entangle Cam in their methods and their means. To what end, I don't know. I still have a job to do. A pleasant greeting and a fond farewell to each and all. Please leave all your comments, questions, and kindnesses down below. Don't you let me catch a single one of you leaving any of that mean, rude, or awful stuff, though. You keep all that garbage to yourselves. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to help us learn, spread, and grow. And don't forget that we strongly encourage each and every one of you to stay safe out there. See you again tomorrow for Fleet Part 24. It's gonna be really good. Good night and good luck, everybody. You'll need it. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye.